So today we're going to be using a recipe from the Gourmet Nutrition, and it is sauteed salmon. And we are going to make this recipe. It is probably less than 10 minutes from start to finish in order to make this. So we bought some wild Alaskan coho salmon from the co-op. It was quite expensive. It was $24 for all of this, $16.99 a pound. However, there's quite a bit here. So, I mean, this would be for my whole family. Or if you were by yourself, this would probably be 4 servings at least. Okay? So the first thing I want to do is I'm always going to want to rinse the fish. And I just, rinse some of the, people that touched it and things like that, and just rinse it off and put it on a plate. This has the skin on it. And when I saute this, I'm going to not want the skin on there. So I'm going to just cut the skin off. Now this is probably something that you could do or ask the butcher to do for you, because it is something that they're equipped to do and certainly could assist you if you say, can you take off the skin for me? If I was baking this, I probably would just leave the skin on, because it's very easy to take the skin off once it is cooked. So I'm just going to follow this line with a nice sharp knife. And if you remove some of the fish, that's okay, but you're just going to kind of slide it along here. And then you're just going to try to remove as much of the skin as possible. Now, I do not have very sharp knives. I need to get them sharpened. My dog is interested. Here. So I have a nice fillet here. The bones are in it, but we will take those out later, okay? So in the recipe, it asks just to put a few spices on it, okay? So it asks for some fennel, and the amounts here are just a pinch, okay? So I'm just gonna put a little bit in my hand, and I might even just make a mixture of this stuff here in my hand. So I've got a little bit of fennel, a little bit of salt. The other thing it asks for is turmeric, okay? I'm not really even sure what this is, but whatever. And then some pepper, okay? And I make kind of like a little bit of a seasoning here, and I'm going to rub it on my fish, okay? Now, a lot of that was on my hand, so I'll just add a few more spices on the back here. And in the meantime, you can get your pan ready and just put a little bit of non-stick cooking spray in it, or some Pam, and this is going to be ready to cook. Okay, so I'm preheating this pan, and I just want it to be hot when I put the fish on. If you can see the flame on here, it says a medium heat, and I can adjust it, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it at there for right now. And I'm going to spray with just some pure olive oil, and I'm going to put my seasoned fillets in the pan. And if it starts to sizzle, then you know that it's probably hot enough. So we're just going to let this cook for 3 minutes aside or so. I'm going to put the timer on. I might even put a cover over the top of it, because I think that sometimes it keeps the moisture in. So I'm going to set the timer, and we'll take a look at this in about 3 minutes. So as I'm cooking this, I'm noticing that the thinner part of the fish is towards the center, which is the hotter part. And if you can see that it's starting to cook a little bit. So I'm going to just flip this around so that the thicker end is in the middle. If you can see the fish, this has been cooking for just a few minutes. Can you see that line there? Okay, that line is going to continue to crawl up the fish. We still have another minute and a half to go. So we're coming up on 4 minutes here, and as you can see, a little bit more of the skinny part has started to cook, and it's kind of moving up, and it's got a nice little browning on that side. So I'm going to carefully flip this fish. Now, I can use these tongs, but it's not the most delicate thing. Okay, so I'm going to let that side cook, and at this point we're going to add in a teaspoon of honey, and I'm just going to drizzle it into the pan. I might just put a little bit over here and a little bit over here, because this is more than 1 serving. So I might just kind of move this around in the honey. Okay. getting a nice brown color. And I'm gonna just cover this up and we're gonna wait about 2 or 3 more minutes. Okay, so we're taking the temperature of this and it says it's probably about at if you take the thicker part, about 150, 120. Some of these thinner parts are probably a little bit higher. We don't want this to dry out, and we found out that you can take it off around 130, 140. And I'm gonna use a delicate thing here and just take it and let it sit on the plate. And just like chicken, it is gonna continue to cook a little bit, okay? So we wanna make sure that we don't overcook it so then it dries out. Got some of those nice crispies on there, and this looks delicious. The other thing I wanna tell you, Chris, does it smell fishy in here?
No, not at all.
It doesn't smell fishy. And, we rinsed the fish. We didn't cook it with the skin on it. And it really has a nice, beautiful smell to it. And we're going to show you how we prepare this. We're going to put it on some greens with a little bit of a relish on it. How Chris and I are going to prepare our lunch here. I've made a little tropical salsa topping, which is on this page here as a tip on page 264 as a good garnish. And this has got apples and strawberries and mango, pineapple. We didn't have pineapple, but we just kind of made a medley of fruit. And then I squeezed some lime over it and chopped up some lemon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first take my greens. These are just, organic greens from Costco. And I'm just going to put those in the bowl. Okay. And then I'm going to take, like I said, this was a lot of salmon. So I'm just going to take a little portion of it. Oh, we didn't talk about bones. Okay, so the bones are right along. You can feel them. They're going to be right along in there. So what I might do is I might cut this so that I could get the bones away from our fish. And you see how that flakes off so nicely? Bones. Where are they? Like right in this, on this piece of fish, you can feel them. But they're right along here, okay? So I'm just gonna make sure, here's a bone. They're pretty big. Here's a bone, try to get some of these out of there. Look how nice and moist that is. Here's a couple more bones. Right in there. Bend it, there's some bone.
Laura, the fish is a little pink. Can you talk about why that's...
Well, this fish is pink. It's actually completely cooked through. Salmon is pink itself. This is probably a little bit on the what we call rare side. They actually refer to salmon as the rare side. If you go to a restaurant, they'll ask you. It's perfectly safe for it to be rare, okay? However, if you like your fish a little bit more well done, you just want to make sure that it's, solid pink as opposed to, it has a little bit of a clear look in it. I'm just going to take this relish and put it on the top. It has some lime juice in it, so it's got a little bit of citrus, a little bit of apples. And now if you wanted, you could probably put a little bit of a dressing on here, a little bit of a, like maybe even that sweet. We're going to make a sweet orange sesame vinaigrette, and that would probably taste delicious on here. So check out that video. If you wanted to just drizzle it with a little bit of oil and vinegar, that would probably be fine. But taste it first, because we did put honey in it, and we've got the lime juice with the fruit, so maybe it'll taste just wonderful. We're going to give it to Chris. She's never really had salmon on a salad, so we'll see what she thinks. Okay, so we have our salads made. We ended up putting a little bit of the sesame orange vinaigrette. If you want, you can watch that recipe next. And we just put a little bit on the top, because like I said, there was some flavoring here. So dig in. What do you think? Tell me what you think. Oh man, that's good. That's really good.
Thumbs up.
It's got a little Asian flair to it. And with the honey, the salmon is perfectly cooked.
Too bad you guys can't taste that.
Start to finish, this probably took us a half an hour. We've got leftover salmon. We've got some dressing for some other, you can put it on with chicken on a salad and mix things up. And And there's also extra relish that will save, and it will be okay because there is lime juice on it, so it'll prevent the apples from getting brown. So hope you guys enjoyed this and try it yourself.